self-care tips, and we're talking about your inner care, your spiritual life. I am Irene Dorobe, wishing you a happy, prayerful Easter.
The legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy inside, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 397 hash.
Nashukuru serikali kwa kuongeza bei ya mafuta. Sasa niko kwa highway na hakuna traffic hata kidogo. Naomba serikali iendelee hivyo, tubaki tu watu ya gasla na heavy machine peke yake. Pia mimi naomba huyu serikali waseme kama gari yako ni below 3000 cc, gari yako
ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 397 hash. *811 397 hash.
KBC Board of Directors, Management and Staff wishes all our esteemed listeners, viewers and clients a happy Easter. May Christ's death and resurrection fill you with hope and peace. Happy Easter from us.
A true love in which family will be the main hardship to achieve happiness.
Well, I understand it, Mom, but I don't want to break up with Adrian.
Paulina will have to confront her own father. And Adrian will suffer due to his sister Julieta's obsession.
No! Not with her! No! Not with her! No!
Paulina is the woman I truly love!
No!
But regardless of jealousy and intrigue,
Karen, open the door, please!
they will fight for their love until the end.
Well, it's the 18th day of April 2022, Easter Monday. Kenyans rising to the occasion at the Boston Marathon. Double victory for Kenya.
And even as Kenyans once again join the rest of the world to mark Easter Monday, when Jesus resurrected from death.
Oh, that's right. Good evening. This is KBC Prime, topping this live broadcast. Evans Chebet and Perez Jepchirchir win the Boston Marathon in the United States.
ODM leader Raila Odinga roots for a 6-piece voting system in Nyanza region.
Kenyans mark Easter with style as the spirit of sharing fills the air. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. My name is Mboya.
My name is Purity Museo, and Lensa Odinga is our sign language interpreter tonight at KBC Channel 1 News at Purity_Museo at Mboya24. The hashtag to use tonight is Prime Edition.
Good news for Kenyans. 2020 Valencia Marathon champion Evans Chebet and Olympic champion Perez Jepchirchir are the 2020 Boston Marathon champions.
Evans led a Kenyan sweep in the 42-kilometer race in the United States, edging compatriots Lawrence Cherono and Benson Kipruto to the second and third places, respectively.
Oh, that's right. Jepchirchir clocked 2 hours, 21 minutes and 2 seconds to win the women's race ahead of Ababel Yeshane of Ethiopia and compatriot Mary Gugi, who were the other podium finishers. Barclay Feather opens this coverage tonight with that beautiful story.
It was a day of Kenyan dominance at the 2022 Boston Marathon, replicated from last year's performance when Kenya won both the men and women races, as Evans Chebet and Perez Jepchirchir won the 42-kilometer races. After finishing fourth at the London Marathon last year and failing to finish at the Boston Marathon in 2018, Evans Chebet clocked 2 hours, 6 minutes and 51 seconds to lead a 1-2-3 Kenyan sweep in the men's race. He led compatriots Lawrence Cherono and Benson Kipruto to the podium.
And Chebet in 2:06:51 takes the Boston Marathon title here in 2022. That is the unofficial time, but officially Evans Chebet is the winner. Toronto coming in second place.
Toronto, and yeah, that is third place. Last year's champion Benjamin Kipruto will wind up in third place. He gets a podium finish.
Your third place finisher.
Ababel Yeshane of Ethiopia disrupted what would have been a 1-6 Kenyan finish in the ladies' race, finishing second behind Tokyo 2020 Olympic champion Perez Jepchirchir, who won the race in 2 hours, 21 minutes and 2 seconds. Yeshane finished just ahead of Mary Ngugi, with other Kenyans Edna Kiplagat, Monica Ngige, Viola Chepto and Joycelyn Jepkoskei finishing in 4th to 7th positions respectively. Above all, the Kenyan anthem was played twice. Daniel Romanchuk of the United States and Manuela Shah of Switzerland won the wheelchair events. Barclay Feather, Prime Edition.
Of pride just listening to the national anthem being played twice on one day. Beautiful. Jepchirchir becomes the first to win Olympic, New York and Boston marathons. Beautiful. Congratulations. I know that. Let's
proud
switch
to be
gear.
a Kenyan.
Oh yes, very proud to be a Kenyan in this moment. But here's the thing, let's move into politics. 20 people are in police custody for allegedly planning to compromise the conduct of the Orange Democratic Movement Party primaries in Migori.
And according to Migori County Police Commander Mark Wanjala, 12 of the suspects were arrested on Sunday night with various weapons as they were reportedly planning to cause chaos ahead of the voting exercise, while 8 others were nabbed while trying to bribe voters at various polling stations.
Well, KBC reporter Wycliffe Okech is in Migori right now, and we move over to Migori. Joins us live. Wycliffe, good evening, Wycliffe. I know you can hear us. What more can you tell us about this incident that we understand. Who organized it, and have the culprits been placed in custody?
Well, thank you so much, Tom Mboya and Purity Museo back in Nairobi. And right here where we are is the Migori Teachers Training College, which is actually being used as the tallying center for the today's exercise. Remember, now it was raised again as time for the political parties to conduct and finalize the party primaries before the 22nd of April. That is according to the timelines of the IEBC. And on the question of the 20 people that are currently in custody, we can report that like I mentioned earlier on, is that the 12 of the suspects actually were arrested last night for allegedly planning to sabotage this exercise, and 8 others were arrested in various polling stations. They tried probably to bribe the voters and influence the exercise. And like I mentioned earlier on, we spoke to the Migori County Commander, who actually alluded to us that the 20 suspects are currently in custody and will be arraigned tomorrow to answer to the charges that I've mentioned there. And just to answer your question as to who organized the incident and whether the ODM party has spoken about it, I can mention to you that just like the police commander mentioned to us that there have been launched investigations, and whoever will be established to have partaken into this incident will face the full force of the law. And if the ODM party probably has spoken about it, and this evening I spoke to the party chairman actually, who hinted to me that he had spoken to the National Election Board of the ODM party, who said that actually now that the issue has been handed to the police, and now it is it's the police that will be following up on that. Like I mentioned, right now we are the tallying center, and what is happening right now is that the presiding officer from the various polling stations are currently clearing the gadgets that were used at the polling stations, and as my colleague can basically pan the pictures here, you can see just behind me here are the officials who are manning this exercise actually, and just on the other side are the various aspirants who participated in this exercise and their followers and their agents who have gathered here in this building actually to witness as they await the release of the official results. Remember, the ODM party was conducting this exercise for 3 elective seats. The first one being the Suna West Member of Parliament, and the seat for the women representative, and across the 40 wards that comprise the Migori County. You remember the ODM party has been employing other means of nomination, and that informed why the other seats actually were not subjected to universal suffrage. Basically, what's happening right now is that the various aspirants actually have made their way in here as they await the official release of the results, and that is actually what is happening here as they wait. They're waiting for the official results to be released by the returning officer. Tom Mboya, actually, will report that the activity was basically peaceful across the polling stations, except for the slow pace of it. Remember, it was these exercises were being undertaken the digital way, but now the few gadgets slowed the process, and the process that was actually meant to begin at 9 delayed by a few minutes, and that means the voting exercise carried on till late in the evening. But right now the voting exercise concluded, and now it is just the tallying process, and we'll be here to bring you every detail. What we can report as well is the heavy presence of the police officers around the surrounding, just to avert any attempt to sabotage the tallying process, and we will report to you promptly when the results are officially announced. Back to you, Purity Museo and Tom Mboya.
Cliff, like you mentioned, we do understand that the vote counting is ongoing right there. Do you have an idea when we expect the full results?
Well, as to what time we can expect the full results, like I've mentioned, that now what's happening is that the presiding officers from various polling stations are clearing the gadget just to ensure that the result that they announce at the various polling stations tally with what is in the system before that is done. And actually, another thing that's going on is that the presiding officers, they are compiling a report that they will submit to the returning officer. Thereafter, the official results could be announced. So we are talking about maybe in an hour or two, then we will know who will be the representative for Suna West constituency, who will be the representative for the seat of the women rep, and who will be the representative across the 40 wards that make up the Migori County.
Reporter weekly for Catch right there in Migori County as the voter counting is underway. Of course, he says that in an hour or two we expect the full results.
The full results.
Absolutely.
And he also indicates that the process has been smooth. Very heavy police presence down in Migori. Thank you very much once again, weekly for Catch. Now, moving on, a brilliant mind once said that Easter is the only time of the year when it is safe to put all your eggs in one basket.
Really? All right. And well, on Monday, some took up the advice and delivered their tokens of blessings to those in need.
Zerotich Kiprono with heartwarming details.
The joy of Easter. The joy of coming together to celebrate the triumph over death and evil. At the Friends Quakers Church in Kabete, disability though evident, the excitement of coming together and sharing in happiness will do for now.
Kwa hii Pasaka tumeitwa hapa kanisani. Nashukuru sana kwa kuwa walemavu kila wakati huwa wanawachwa nyuma. Lakini nashukuru kwa wale walietenga hii wakati yao wakatuleta hapa.
The celebrations, which were organized by Greenwood Disability, was aimed at bringing the spirit of Easter to women living with disabilities and in low-income areas.
Tunataka watu wafurahie upendo wa Yesu Kristo. So tuliwalika hapa ili tuwaoneshe upendo, na tulipofika hapa nashukuru lengo letu ilikuwa ni kuabudu na kugawa zawadi. Na kweli tumeabudu na tumeimba nyimbo za sifa na zawadi pia tumepata.
Some kilometers away, hundreds of vulnerable and elderly persons in Mangu, Kiambu County, were also getting their spirits lifted. The Makika Welfare Group handed them food and blankets to cushion them against the hard economic times and vagaries of weather.
Tumekutana hapa siku ya Pasaka ili tuweze kusaidia watu wetu ambao wako chini kimaisha, kwa sababu tunajua wakati maisha imekuwa sana mangumu, lakini tumeona wakati tunaposelekea wakati wa Pasaka ni vizuri chenye tuko nayo tuweze kuselekea na watu wetu.
But as some chose to spend the long Easter weekend with the vulnerable, others chose a different route, choosing to unwind and gather their thoughts. A break from the routine.
Coming to Narok during this Easter season for us is a beautiful break from Nairobi. When you think of what people would do in Nairobi at this time, it really is not as exciting as coming to see the locals doing their thing.
For Primetime Edition, I'm Jerotich Kiprano.
Now, secondary school heads want the Children's Act amended to ensure that students involved in destruction of school property are held to account.
The Kenya Secondary School Heads Association chairperson Alfred Indimuli says the act currently lets culprits to get away with such crimes. Indimuli also lauded efforts made by stakeholders for a smooth takeoff of the competence-based curriculum.
Here's that report.
Students' unrest in the country reached an all-time peak last year, with at least 75 schools torched, leading to the closure of several of them. Whereas about 300 students were arrested, the Kenya Secondary Schools Heads Association chairman Alfred Indimuli says the Children's Act does not provide avenues of culprits facing the full force of the law.
If you look at the Children's Act, they have a responsibility towards their parents, and a responsibility towards their nation. But there's no responsibility towards educational institutions. So they can break up things, they can burn their schools, and they walk scot-free because nothing ties them on. They have no responsibility on whatever they do.
They want it aligned to the education sector.
When I last checked, the Children's Act is not anchored in the Ministry of Education. It is anchored under the Ministry of Labour. And therefore, Parliament must also come up. Ministry of Education must come up with rules and regulations to manage the Children's Act in educational institutions.
Indimuli was speaking at the 45th Kesha Annual Conference that began Monday at the Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Hall in Mombasa. Under the theme, Re-examining Our Future Together, a New Era of Education, is in tandem with the newly launched competence-based curriculum.
We are aware already Teacher Service Commission has identified teachers to be trained beginning next month, a number from each school. But what else is this that the teachers need to prepare? We will be trying to get these responses from the Teacher Service Commission.
Indimuli also said the week-long conference will seek solutions to funding and management challenges that schools encounter.
We are trying to look at is capitation enough to manage the challenges that the schools have? Can we bring in other critical stakeholders to support in the funding of education, improvement of infrastructure, and the rest? Here we are talking of key stakeholders as the parents. What role are they expected to play? This is what we will be trying to discuss.
The conference has brought together 9,000 teachers, 2,000 exhibitors, and international guests. For Prime Edition, from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Down in the coast, human rights activists in Kilifi County are calling for a multi-pronged approach to the war on teenage pregnancy.
The activists say perpetrators are using cultural practices as guise to lure young girls into sex and are siring children whom they have no intention of parenting.
Here's that report.
At Sarafina Children's Home, here the teenage girls call it a safe haven. Among the girls at the center is this 18-year-old girl who sought shelter at the home after she got pregnant at the age of 15.
Nilikuja hapa nikiwa niko na miaka 15 nikiwa ni mjamzito, na nilikuja hapa kushauriwa na kurekebishwa. Nilipojifungua nikaregeshwa shuleni, nilisoma mpaka nimaliza darasa la 8. Na sasa hii ninangojea kujiunga na chuo cha pili.
This 16-year-old girl took refuge at the center to escape sexual molestation allegedly perpetrated by her biological father. He warned her of dire consequences and punishment if she ever revealed to anyone about the ordeal.
Tuletewa huyu mtoto akiwa na kesi ya defilement, kwa hivyo tumekuwa tukishughulikia hiyo kesi. Ilipelekwa kotini, lakini baba bado hajakamatwa.
Alifanya kitu kibaya sana, lakini aliniambia kitu, ukiniambia kitu nitakumaliza.
Magdalene Tuva runs the Sarafina Children's Home. She says that teenage pregnancy in Kilifi is rampant and is becoming a pandemic.
Early child pregnancies ni nyingi na zinakuwa contributed kwa sababu ya mila, na pia nyingi zilikuwa contributed na disco matanga.
Magdalene says no one is willing to discuss sex education and parents are feigning ignorance when challenged with the discussions.
Kitu kingine ambacho pia kimechangia haya ni itikadi, mila na desturi. Watoto wanakuwa wamebakwa na it robs them of their self-esteem. It robs them of their dignity.
Huwa tunafanya counseling. At first ni mtu lazima ujikubali. Kitendo kilitendeka kweli, lakini itabidi ukubali na uyasahau. Ingawaje ni vigumu, lakini tuajaribu.
Magdalene says the center is operating on a bare minimum, calling on well-wishers to support the initiative. She says that if less effort is put into the war on the vice, more girls will fall victim to the unending cycle of teen motherhood and hopelessness. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Well, that story brings us to our first break right here on KBC Prime on the day Evans Chebet and Perez Jepchirchir secured a double victory at the 2022 Boston Marathon.
We have plenty more coming up, of course. Stay tuned.
Na mna bahati nyinyi watu wa Keni kwamba ni sehemu ya kwanza katika Kenya kuleta mpango wa maji, na nimeona mifereji na kila kitu tayari.
Nana is my name. My daughter is constantly online these days because, well, it's the new normal way for them to learn. Now, whether here at home or in school, it is important to work with them online so that you find out more about what they're looking for. Also, find out what is out there, because the things I've seen online. So for me, passwords on gadgets is a must.
Being fooled online? Get CyberSmart to enjoy safe entertainment and education online. The Communications Authority of Kenya. Mawasiliano kwetu, nguvu kwako.
A true love in which family will be the main hardship to achieve happiness.
Well, I understand it, Mom, but I don't want to break up with Adrian.
Paulina will have to confront her own father. And Adrian will suffer due to his sister Julieta's obsession.
No! Not with her! No! Not with her! No!
Paulina is the woman I truly love!
No!
But regardless of jealousy and intrigue,
Karen, open the door, please!
they will fight for their love until the end.
Welcome back. Our social media platforms.
At KBC Channel 1 News, at Purity_Museo, at Mboya 24. The hashtag is Prime Edition. Lensa Odinga is a sign language interpreter tonight.
A bit of politics. ODM leader Raila Odinga has called on voters in his Nyanza backyard to adopt the 6-piece mode of voting in a bid to support his ambition to form a stable government if elected president. Raila, who spoke during the burial of the late ambassador of Kenya to Qatar, Paddy Ahenda, called for unity among his supporters ahead of the August polls.
And a section of ODM aspirants in Mombasa County has castigated the United Democratic Alliance gubernatorial candidate Hassan Omar Hassan over his remarks that the ODM gubernatorial candidate was not his match in the 9th August polls. The aspirants have maintained that Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir is best suited to lead the county.
ODM leader Raila Odinga was in Nyasore village in Rachuonyo East Sub-County to attend the burial of the late ambassador of Kenya to Qatar, Paddy Ahinda. Raila using the platform to call on voters in his Nyanza backyard to adopt a 6-piece mode of voting in a bid to support his ambition to form a stable government if elected president.
6 please. MCA, MP, Women Rep, Senator, Governor, President.
Meanwhile, Azimio Women Group want a woman to be named as Raila Odinga's running mate in the upcoming polls.
Article 27, Sub-Article 3, that states that women are exposed to 50% of chances in this nation. So we are not demanding, we are just asking our candidate to refer to that article and be generous and kind enough. And because we know he's a man for women, he's a he for she, that he gives the deputy president role to the women of this republic, and women of this republic will forever be grateful to him.
Women issues are very different from other issues, and that's why we are appealing. Where you find men meeting, if you don't find woman's face, then you do not have proper representation of the nation. And this is representing half the nation.
And stakes remain high in the race to succeed Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho in the upcoming polls. Days after businessman Suleiman Shahbal stepped out of the race in favor of Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir to fly the ODM party flag in the Mombasa gubernatorial race, UDA gubernatorial candidate Hassan Omar Hassan claimed that Abdul Somad was not his match.
I know that will not be in an issue-based campaign. I'm thinking of how I'll have to respond to him constantly because I have never had him expose any real issues about Mombasa. I think that ODM, as usual, subjects us to a very low-quality campaign.
Sentiments that seem to have rubbed a section of ODM aspirants the wrong way, warning Hassan Omar to prepare to lose come August.
I wish to condemn very solemnly his sentiments, and I also wish to warn him that he should shun away from naming individuals like Mr. Joho, like Mr. Abu, like Mr. Abu Samad, and focus on his campaigns and his political agenda, because it's clear that he has chickened out. If you have not chickened out, the Englishmen say confidence is silence and insecurities are loud.
Mheshimiwa Sarai, ulitangazwa kuwa umeshindwa 2017 na hivi tayari hatujafika kupiga kura hii 2022 mwezi wa 8. Tunakutangaza ushashindwa rasmi.
Sisi si weak candidate. Tunakuhakikishia na tunahakikishia chama cha ODM kwamba Mombasa ni ODM zone na itabakia kuwa ODM zone.
Elsewhere, a section of members of the Jubilee Party from Murang'a County want the party to refrain from issuing direct nominations to individuals implicated in corruption. Speaking at Kenol Town in Murang'a, the members urged the party to evaluate every aspirant before issuing the nomination tickets.
We should look at Murang'a senatorial candidacy in another way. And what we are saying is that we don't want to recycle the leaders. We want the nomination or the consensus to be based on the integrity of the candidates.
Kuna wale ambao wanakisiwa kwamba ndio watapatiwa tiketi na watu hao wako na maswali kadhaa.
For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Now, the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi says that the Democratic Party of Kenya remains firmly in the Kenya Kwanza alliance.
Speaking in Kiambu County, Muturi downplayed an internal revolt within Democratic Party of Kenya DP, which has seen a section of party officials lodge legal proceedings against the party's alliance within the William Ruto-led coalition.
The supremacy battle in the Democratic Party of Kenya could see its party leader Justin Muturi ejected from his post over claims that his appointment in February was done in contravention of party's constitution and his recent dalliance with Kenya Kwanza Alliance. However, speaking in Kiambu Town, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi downplayed the matter as a non-issue.
We are in that exciting moment of politics. So what was happening in the parliament was just, people trying to get some bonga points here and there, say this or the other, because I don't think we spend too much time dealing with non-issues.
With the inter-party hearing expected to be heard on Tuesday by an ad hoc committee formed by Registrar of Political Parties, Muturi asserted that the Democratic Party firmly remains in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
We agreed to go in terms of our constitution, Article 28 of the DP Constitution, to appoint what is provided for an ad hoc committee to deal with that complaint which they had raised. I may not be at liberty to discuss some of those processes, how they will pan out. But it is something which is settled, and I'm happy.
And Safina Party presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi has ruled out any possibility of the party forming coalition ahead of the August 9 polls. While addressing voters in Kwale County, Wanjigi said the party has rejected offers to join Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza coalitions.
Muliniona nikiwa kwa NDC ya Ruto akija kwa NDC ya Safina. Mulimuona kwa TV. Alinialika yake nikamwalika yangu. Lakini nilimwambia tukiwa hapo, tuko marafiki, lakini hii tutafika mwisho. Wenda na njia yangu, mimi niko na yangu.
No, you are leading us down. What an hit officer kuje, just a minute.
Meanwhile, Ford Kenya party nomination exercise in Kabula Ward, Bungoma County, failed to kick off after ballot papers allegedly went missing due to what party officials termed technicalities from county headquarters. Hell broke loose when voters who had camped at the polling station for 6 hours received news about the missing voting materials. The officers who were forced to seek refuge behind police officers in fear for their lives from the irate mob who seemed to be baying for their blood. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Unemployment, poverty, and illiteracy are among a myriad of challenges young people face in the informal settlements.
But in Nairobi's Mathare slums, youth have found a lifeline to reliable sources of livelihood thanks to arts and skills they are acquiring from the Mathare Vocational Training College.
Take a look.
In 2016, Francis Ombimo hopped onto the next bus to Nairobi City from Luanda, a rural area in Vihiga County. He left his grandmother's residence with the hope of a better life. On arrival in the city, things were not as he had envisioned. In efforts to improve his life, moving to Mathare informal settlement seemed like the only option. Without formal education or any training, Ombimo found himself struggling as he would not eke a living, a situation that led him on a dark path.
Wanajihusisha kwa mambo mengine mengi ambayo hawezi kusaidia kama ya uni, wizi, mambo yasiyofaa.
Ni kijana alikuwa amepotelea huku mtaani na ambapo hakuwa na kazi na alikuwa amejihusisha na dawa na pombe na bangi zote. So ni muhimu kwa vijana kama hao, na si kupenda kwao sana. Wengi ni kukosa fedha za kuendelea shule. Sasa wanaona wabaki kwa kijiji, lakini naona kama Francis anasaidika.
His life took a turn when he enrolled with Mathare Vocational Training College.
Program nimejifundisha mambo mengi kwa sababu kabla tuende course ya mambo na ufundi niliweza kufundishwa mambo mengi kama life skills, jinsi ya kukaa na jinsi ya kuashate kwa kijiji na wanakijiji, na pale nikaweza kujifundisha adabu, jinsi ya kujitafutia, jinsi ambavyo mikono zangu na passion yangu yenye iko ndani mwangu inaweza nisaidia kimaisha.
Upon successful completion of the training, Ombimo was offered a startup kit comprising essential tools to assist him embark on a career as an electronics technician.
The youths were able to sit for their NITA exam, that is National Industrial Training Authority, whereby they were certified, and then after that, Save the Children were able to provide startup kits for the youths. The startup kits were meant for the youths to, to boost whatever they had studied for.
Ombima was among the first 200 beneficiaries of the project dubbed Nituze, spearheaded by Save the Children Kenya in partnership with Nairobi and Turkana County governments.
The main objective of the project is to empower youths with skills that they are able to earn a living, and as they continue to earn a living, they are able to continue serving their local community.
Mathare Informal Settlement Elder Dorcas Njoki pointed out that the youth in informal settlements face a myriad of challenges such as unemployment, alcohol and drug abuse, among others.
Unaona vijana, mtu anafika standard 8 ama amefika form 4, unakuta huyo kijana amekosa tamaa ya kusoma ama ya maisha, kwa sababu anaona mama pengine hana uwezo. Sasa kijana anaenda kutafuta kibarua, ile kibarua naye inamuingiza kwa mahali si papoa.
In this area, majority or most of them, they are engaged in drug abuse, petty crimes, and such a program, Ibitibet model, it has brought the skills. The youths are able now to leave those crimes and be able to do a positive impact in their livelihoods.
Lauding the project as it offers the youth opportunities to acquire employable skills in various sectors that can earn them a living and support their families. Mathare Vocational Training College Principal James Museo said that the government acknowledges vocational education and technical training as a paramount component in the country's development.
It has also cut the criminal activities by a very big margin, because when we engage students around here, you find that they cannot go out there and engage themselves into any other criminal activities.
Simiyu stated that there is a recurrent shortage of artisans, plumbers, among others, calling on the youth to consider opportunities that would empower them to acquire technical skills, become job creators and active players in the economy.
It gives them an opportunity to compete with others out there. People who didn't have hope, but today, because of the skills they have attained, they have hope.
When I was growing up, actually one of the things I wanted to be employed, but I realized in the market sometimes you don't get employment. But there are other opportunities you can use to make a survival. So this is a good challenge to young people, young men, and especially the youths who maybe don't have enough education, can do what we call vocational training, where they train something they can use their hand, not only in electronics but in a different field.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Jackie Umbiru.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition. The Institute of Engineers of Kenya has cited material failure as the cause of collapse of the building under construction in Nairobi's county's Utawala estate.
Elsewhere, women volunteers drawn from the Association of Women Managers in the maritime sector in Eastern and Southern Africa, Kenya Coast Guard Service and Kenya Wildlife Service have joined hands to rid coastal beaches of plastic pollution.
These and other stories in our county news roundup with Jelis Aladi.
This residential building was under construction in Utawala area of Nairobi when it collapsed on Sunday. However, no injuries or casualties were reported. A day later, a team of investigators comprising the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, the National Building Inspectorate and the National Construction Authority visited the site. Their preliminary investigations cited material failure as a cause for the building collapsing. Detailed investigations of tragedy has begun aimed at providing comprehensive report, giving findings and recommendations.
The cause of failure of this particular building is column failure. And as these institutions represented here, we are going to carry out detailed assessment to be able to expeditiously come up with the cause of the collapse of this particular building, and then we should be able to communicate with the public at the most appropriate time. So for now, I think we would like to ask the public to give us some adequate time to carry out that detailed analysis so that we are able to curb this situation into the future.
On environmental conservation, women volunteers drawn from the Association of Women Managers in the maritime sector in Eastern and Southern Africa have begun cleaning up coastal beaches. Speaking during the exercise at Copacabana Beach in Mtwapa Township of Kilifi County, WAMASA Secretary Win Maina said their aim is to prevent pollution through sensitizing the locals on conservation through beach cleanups.
The reason for this is just to be able to ensure that our oceans are clean, our oceans are free, so that the normal processes of the ocean can be able to take place and fish can continue to grow in an environment that is natural, and we are able to sustain our environment.
Elsewhere, owners of land along the border of Machakos and Kajiado counties are calling on the government to intervene in the border dispute that threatens to dispossess them of their parcel of land. The owners, most of who are on the Machakos side, are alleging attempts by the Director of Survey Kenya, Kajiado Local Administration and County Surveyor of Kenya to hire off a portion of land to Kajiado County.
Tukusafiwa, tuliona tu magari ika commotion ndio tukaja, lakini tulikuja when it was too late, washakata mtaro na tukaona wamejikatia shamba kiasi ya karibu 70.
The landowners within the disputed 65-acre land say they have been seeking answers from the relevant government authorities for the last 3 months to no avail. Jelis Aladi for Prime Edition.
His undisputable academic credentials set him apart from his peers when he first came into the political limelight. Besides former President Mwai Kibaki, he is the second longest serving member of parliament in Kenya.
Tonight on the cabinet, we focus on Henry Kiprono Kosgei, a man whose political career saw him serve in 8 ministries and in 2 presidential regimes.
Henry Kiprono Kosgei, born in 1947 in Kapkabus in the current Uasin Gishu County, has been a staple in Kenyan politics for a period of 30 years. 1979, a memorable year in Kenyan history, as Jomo Kenyatta's succession talk had all but simmered down, with Daniel Arap Moi having taken over as the nation's second president. A young Henry Kosgei burst into the political scene at just 32 years of age, getting elected as the Member of Parliament for Tinderet constituency. He would subsequently be appointed Minister for Transport and Communication, a post he held until 1985, 2 years after winning re-election as MP for Tinderet. Following a cabinet reshuffle in 1985, Kosgei would be demoted to the less glamorous Ministry of Cooperative Development, where he served for 2 years before moving to the Ministry of Culture and Social Services for a similar duration. Fast forward to the 1988 general election, a one-of-a-kind election courtesy of the infamous queue voting system. A significant number of members of parliament would lose their seats, and Kosgei would be no exception, with Kimaio Koronei Arap Sego winning the Tinderet parliamentary seat. With no place in parliament or the cabinet, Kosgei's salvation beckoned when he was appointed chairman of the Kenya National Assurance Company, KNAC. Kosgei would leave the company in 1992 to seek a fresh term as Tinderet Member of Parliament. It was the right call. He would later in his term make a comeback to the cabinet, this time as Minister for Environment and Natural Resources. He would hold the post until the 1997 general election. Henry Kosgei once again would be elected Tinderet Member of Parliament for the fourth time and named Minister for Tourism and Wildlife. Kosgei would later be moved to the Ministry of Science and Technology in 1999, where he served for 2 years before leaving for the Ministry of Education from 2001 to 2002. The wind of change that swept Kenyan politics during and after the 2002 general election would see Henry Kosgei decamp from KANU, the party he won his fifth term as Tinderet Member of Parliament, becoming chairman of the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM. Upon being elected to Parliament for the sixth time in the disputed 2007 elections, Henry Kosgei would be appointed Minister for Industrialization, a post he held until 2013. His political career would dim in 2013 as his attempts to be elected Senator of Nandi County proved futile.
The legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Well, there you are. I'm handling the sports docket. Richard Munga is away. Now, as Kenya continues to celebrate double victory at the Boston Marathon 2020, Athletics Kenya is continuing with assessments of various under-20 athlete camps to ascertain the level of preparedness ahead of the national trials. Various coaches are optimistic of sending strong teams for the national trials set to be held in Kasarani. Barclay Feather reports.
Athletics Kenya continued the assessment of under-20 camps ahead of the national trials. The residential training, which will be closed at the end of this week and comprises of over 1,200 athletes in 26 camps, began on 5th April with athletes preparing for the East Africa Games in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Africa Youth Games in Cairo, Egypt, as well as the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Cali, Colombia.
Mashindano yalichelewa kidogo kwa sababu ya corona, lakini tunataka sasa kuona ya kuwa wanariadha wametimiza stages zote za mazoezi. We started with basic training, we come to specific training, and then we'll have to prepare eventually for competition.
Athletics Kenya will conduct 2 days of national trials between 8th and 9th of July to select a team for the global showpiece in Colombia.
Sasa nimejiandaa juu sasa nimemaliza shule. Sasa niko free
kufanya training poa, si kama last year tulikuwa na train sometimes kwa class, sasa nimekuwa free. Sasa niko na hamu tu nitaweza participate vizuri sana kwa hii under 20.
Kwa target yangu kwa 3000 na target kupeperusha bendera ya Kenya. Sasa nataka last time kwa counties nilikuwa position 1 and a time ilikuwa personal best ilikuwa 932. Kwa hii nataka ni perform vizuri.
Kenya will be defending the overall title for the second consecutive time after emerging champions in 2018 in Tampere, Finland, and last year at Kasarani Stadium.
Paralympian Helen Wawira has arrived in Birmingham, England in a bid to qualify for the 2020 Commonwealth Games under the GAPS program. Wawira will take part in the 5-day GAPS camp from today that aims at creating more opportunities for classification events for talented athletes on the road to the Birmingham Games.
Para powerlifter Helen Wawira, who is in Birmingham for the GAPS program, made her debut in 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, where she was placed 4th, missing out on the medal bracket in the under 41 kg women lightweight category, won by Nigerian Esther Oyema with a total of 141.6 points, a world record, while Wawira amassed 96.0 points. Wawira also made her debut in the 2020 Paralympic Games in Tokyo, where she finished 5th with a lift of 93 kgs in the powerlifting competition under 41 kilograms category, won by Chinese Guo Ling, who lifted 108 kilograms. GAPS is a Sports for Development and Peace program which was started by the Commonwealth Games to support the development of inclusive sports pathway. Other Kenyans who benefited from the program include para-athletes Vincent Mutai, Sylvia Atieno and Nelly Sile, who participated in the first camp in Johannesburg in March this year. Daniel Mwendwa, Sport.
Now, Kenya finished 14th at the Vancouver leg of this season's HSBC Sevens World Series after losing to Spain 24-7 in the 13th placed semi-final match played last night. Kenya managed only one converted try in the game, scored by Kevin Wekesa in the 5th minute against Spain's 4 tries scored by Juan Martinez and Juan Ramos, who both got a brace. Following the loss, Kenya sits in position 10 on 37 points this season with 3 legs to go to be held in Toulouse, London and Los Angeles. The Kenyan team will return home to prepare for the next 2 legs in Toulouse and London next month before ending the season in Los Angeles in August. South Africa top the standings on 111 points, 6 points above second-placed Argentina, while Australia sit 3rd on 100 points. Jamaica are bottom on just 3 points. Karim Benzema scored a late winner at Real Madrid, fought back from 2 goals down to beat Seville 3-2 and close in on the La Liga title. In German, Bundesliga leader Bayern Munich restored their 9-point lead with a comfortable 3-0 victory at relegation-threatened Arminia Bielefeld.
Sevilla lost to Real Madrid 3-2 after a successful late comeback from La Liga leaders Real Madrid. The hosts stunned Real in the first half through Ivan Rakitic's free kick.
Aside, Ivan Rakitic! Rakitic!
And Eric Lamella's cross-range strike.
Still going! He topples over!
The visitors pulled one back early in the second half through Rodrigo.
Breached for the first